Jumpers, come on, take me back one. Jumpers connection, yeah, that's a one. Yeah.
Woot, 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 woot. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Campus Connection. It is another beautiful Tuesday. I am your host, Anessa, and I'm joined by my co host. What's your name? What's your name?
Jonathan Fletcher, that's my
Okay.
name. welcome to Campus Connection, proudly brought to you by Live Good Anti-Violence campaign from the Ministry of National Security and Peace. And today we're talking about moving forward because, at some point in time, we have to pick up the pieces, we have to count the cost and, forge ahead because the truth is life is dynamic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was
Mm-hmm.
giving some thought to this, and I was saying to myself that, when you're a child and certain things happen, and you take a little break
Yeah.
from school, and you
Mm-hmm.
go down whatever, and then you go back to school. But when you're an adult, if you don't have no vacation days or sick days or any of those things, you better just get up, press your clothes, bed,
Uh-huh.
and go to work. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
fam?
Uh-huh. But
Yeah,
yes,
it's a whole thing.
absolutely, absolutely. And that's what we're talking about moving forward. How do you pick up the pieces after
Mm-hmm.
such a traumatic experience? We're jumping now to our sponsors, the Live Good Anti-Violence campaign from the Ministry of National Security and Peace. And when we return, more Campus Connection.
See all my other face bruise up? They beat me just because I said I'm tired.
I'm only 13, but I said if I work harder, they will make me go back home.
Me not have no birth paper nor no ID. Them have all of my documents them. Forced labor is one of the many forms of human trafficking. Report suspected cases of human trafficking. Call the nearest police station 119 or 888 PROTECT. A message from the Ministry of National Security.
Okay, where are the campus heights? Students are strap up in a price. We see the yard.
All right, welcome back to Campus Connection here on the Family Station Love 101. If you are just joining us, we are talking about moving forward. What does that look like? What are the things that we need to do in order to forge ahead? So very
Mm-hmm.
important. And we have a lot for you this evening. We have our education news and bulletin. Then we jump into our creative block with Miss Lloyd and Hilton, founder of Hilton's Creative Crafts, Miss Hilton's Creative Crafts. And then we have I Chose Christ by Destiny Finley from the UCCF. She's actually the president. And then, of course, our main discussion will be joined by Miss Erica Bennett, guidance counselor, Mr. Rashawn Winter, president of the UA Mona Guild of Students. As we just talk about, what does life look like post Hurricane Melissa?
Yeah.
What are
Yeah.
some of the things that we can look towards? I was talking to somebody just before I came on the show, and I was
Mm-hmm.
saying to them that it's so important for us to find even the opportunities in crisis.
Mm-hmm.
We learned a lot from COVID, where a lot of businesses were shut down, but a lot of businesses emerged as
Mm-hmm.
well
Mm-hmm.
after they learned how to accept the new normal,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you will. So let's see.
Absolutely. Education news and bulletin for today will be read by Camille Lawrence, or campus consultant.
Education news and bulletins for Tuesday, November 11, 2025. JTA mobilizes initial $35 million to provide relief for teachers impacted by Hurricane Melissa. The Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, has announced the allocation of an initial $35 million to support teachers severely impacted by Hurricane Melissa, which left widespread destruction across several parishes, crippling communities and schools in the hardest hit areas. This initial sum was approved at a meeting of the Central Executive, which was convened on Friday, November 7, 2025. The JTA, through the leadership of President Mark Malava, has developed and approved a comprehensive national relief and recovery plan designed to address the immediate and long-term needs of teachers. The plan, which was presented and endorsed by the Central Executive Committee, reflects the association's unwavering commitment to the welfare and recovery of its members. Mr. Malaver noted that this is not only a financial intervention, it is a statement of solidarity, compassion, and purpose. Our teachers have once again borne the brunt of a national disaster. Yet they continue to show extraordinary resilience. It is our duty as their representatives to ensure that they are supported in rebuilding their lives and homes. Of the $35 million mobilized from the Jamaica Teachers Association's investment portfolio, $3 million will be allocated for immediate relief supplies such as food, toiletries, and emergency kits. $2 million will be dedicated to logistical support, including transportation and distribution. $30 million will go toward infrastructure recovery and rebuilding assistance. Jamaicans top 13 CSEC subjects in 2025 CXC Merit List. Jamaican students placed first in the region in 13 Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate subjects CSEC in the June 2025 examinations. The results were contained in the Caribbean Examination Council CXC Merit Lists, which were released on Thursday on the Council's website, ranking students from the region who excelled in their respective subject areas. Mathematics, biology, industrial technology, building, electrical and mechanical, French, and Caribbean history were among the subjects which were topped by a Jamaican. Campion College led Jamaica's dominance, earning multiple top regional placements across subjects including mathematics, economics, French, principles of accounts, additional mathematics, and industrial technology. Other schools, including Immaculate Conception High, York Castle High, Mount Alvernia High, Herbert Morrison Technical, Knox College, Glenmuir High, Wolmer's Boys, and Petersfield High Evening Institute, also contributed significantly to Jamaica's strong results. Jamaican students ace several units in CAPE 2025 exams. Jamaican students continued their excellent academic performances in the June 2025 Caribbean Examination Council CXC examinations, ranking among the best in Units 1 and 2 of various subjects in the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination, CAPE. According to the CAPE Merit List released by CXC on Thursday, Jamaican students placed first in the region in Unit 1 subject areas of accounting, geography, computer science, law, management of business, food and nutrition, among others. Several non-traditional high schools, including Guys Hill High School and McGrath High School, had students finishing among the region's best in agricultural science. Campion College, St. Jago High School, St. Hughes High School, Jamaica College, and Immaculate Conception High School were among the schools that repeatedly appeared in the region's top rankings. Jamaican students also continued their strong performance in subject areas such as French, geography, literatures in English, animation and design, entrepreneurship, tourism, logistics and supply chain operations, building and mechanical engineering drawing, engineering technology, and financial services. Students also recorded impressive regional placements beyond the first place in several areas, including applied mathematics, biology, chemistry, and arts and design. In Unit 2, Jamaica again topped the region in multiple subjects, including biology, economics, food and nutrition, law, cinematic arts, digital media, logistics and supply chain operations, electrical and electronic engineering technology, and financial services. Additional top 3 regional finishes were recorded in subjects such as arts and design, computer science, history, and physics. And now for the bulletins. Love 101 FM, the family station, is calling on Jamaica to stand together. Families across our island have been affected by Hurricane Melissa, and many are in urgent need of your support. You can make a difference. Your donations can include canned food, bottled water, sanitary napkins, baby and adult diapers, tarpaulins, and toiletries such as soaps, tissue, and toothpaste. Cash donations can be made to the account of National Religious Media Commission, account number 212-372-900 at the National Commercial Bank, Oxford Place branch code 021. You can also make cash donations at our office at 81 Hagley Park Road or on our website at love101.org. Together, let's rebuild hope. Let's help each other with Love 101 FM, the family station. That's the education news and bulletins for Campus Connection. I am Camille Lawrence.
All right. Thank you so much to Camille for education news and bulletin. Our question to you for today is, how do you plan to move forward after the hurricane? So now that the hurricane is gone and you are starting to rebuild, or you're starting to pick up the pieces, what are some of the things you have planned? We want to know, we want to hear from you. We're live on Facebook, on YouTube, on TikTok at Love 101 FM Jamaica. You can also reach out to us on WhatsApp at 876-997-3125. And coming up, we have somebody who is definitely trying to move on, trying to pick up the pieces after Hurricane Melissa. Her name is Miss Lloyd Ann Hilton. And she is the founder of Miss Hilton's Creative Crafts, but she is also living in the Montego Bay area, and I'm very interested to hear more about how she has been managing. I know it certainly hasn't been easy. But Lloyd Ann is resilient. You know, she's a true Jamaican, a special education teacher. She's a language teacher. She's a content creator, and of course, she's a business owner. But even more than that, she has a really strong passion for helping those who are disadvantaged. I mean, she's a part of the Cornwall Combined Disability Group. She helps out at the Kiwanis Club and so much more. So I know community involvement is near and dear to her heart. Lloyd Ann, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being on with us. I know it's a big sacrifice, so please accept our welcome.
Thank you so much. Good evening, listeners. Good evening to you also. It's as you say, it's a big sacrifice, but nonetheless, I'm here and I'm ready to share.
Love it. So you're actually in the Montego Bay area, and you are even now experiencing the aftermath. And in some parts of Mobe, there's no power, no electricity, nowhere to even charge your phone to do the basic things that some in the East are enjoying so much. So tell us a little bit about how you've been able to kind of cope with this situation.
Really coping is hard because, as for me, as well as others, there's no electricity in Montego Bay. The Bogue area, however, they have regained electricity and water, but from what I have known and asked about, it is only the persons that are in the Bogue area. So the rest of Montego Bay, we are without electricity, we are without water. When you come into the streets of Montego Bay, like downtown Montego Bay, St. James Street, Barnett Street, the stores that are open, they are using generators. What they're doing is they're letting in probably 2 to 5 persons at a time to go in and take up what you want, and then you come back out. On the roadside, there are persons with their generators that are charging 300, 200 in order to charge your phone. So it's really a survival mode. The bank lines for the ATMs, they are very long. And some of the machines are even down. And then to go inside the bank, that's another gathering for itself. So it's chaotic. There is no traffic lights down here. So every minute there's an accident because
Wow.
no one wants to wait, no one wants to keep blind. So it's
Mm,
really chaotic. Persons are trying to cope, and the
mhm,
coping part, I am not so sure. I'm really
mhm.
not sure because persons, we have lost a lot down this side. We
Right,
have lost
right.
a lot, and apart from losing a lot, persons were dependent on work, and know that the workplaces have lost a lot also. They're laying off persons, so it it is taking a mental toll on some of us down here because we don't know what else to do. I went around the road in my community to see the damages that were done after the hurricane, and I saw one of my students.
Mhm.
Her family, the only thing that was left was the foundation, the concreted floor. That was the
Wow.
only thing that was left. And when you look at that and then being laid off, like,
Mm,
how do you survive? There
right.
are charities and there are foundations giving out food. However, there is no phone service. I'm talking to you now. I am downtown. And it's only certain areas of Montego downtown that you're getting signal, being
All
honest.
right, Lloyd,
Um,
Lloyd, hold that thought. Hold that thought. Much to unpack here as we listen to the story coming from Lloyd and Hilton, a special education and language teacher. But we have to take a quick break. So please stay with us after these messages.
Grace is giving shoppers discounts on over 20 of your favorite Grace products when you cash out at participating supermarkets. The time that Grace could move is
5:47.
Me just never did I get through with no work, And me did I get desperate. Till one day me see one ad but them want somebody for work at a massage parlor. Trust me, the place was nothing like them advertised. From the very first day, I had to be giving much more than massages.
Verify the legitimacy of job advertisements with the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. To report suspected cases of human trafficking, call the nearest police station 119 or 888 Protect. A message from the Ministry of National Security.
Ho, ho, ho! And what would you like for Christmas?
A paint tough enough for my messy grandkids. Perfect color matching for my living room.
Paint that covers in fewer coats, A finish that stands up to sun or rain,
BH Paints has you covered. Now up to 25% off.
Be one of the first 200 monthly to register on championsofcolor.com and get a free gallon of BH New Ultimate Advanced Formula. No purchase required.
All I want for Christmas is BH Paints.
Discount available at BH Paint stores and participating hardwares.
Okay, where are the campus heights? Students are strap up in a price. We see yard.
Welcome back to Campus Connection. We are in our Creative Block segment and we're talking with Lloyd Ann Hilton. She's actually in Montego Bay. She was sharing with us some of the things that they're currently experiencing that side of the island. But Lloyd Ann, I wanted to understand some more. What are some of the things that you are putting in place to move forward, to pick up the pieces and stuff like that?
Well, personally for me, thus far I am trying to think of ways, getting creative ideas in terms of how am I going to help the students rather than focusing on myself. Taking the focus of myself, of the business, how am I going to help a child to regroup, to go back to school, or how am I going to help my persons with disabilities to come back from all the disasters that they have faced.
Yeah.
So it's really about focusing on me and my business per se. It's mostly focusing on how I can help someone else.
I love that. And you have been a part of, you're no stranger to community service, to volunteering, those kinds of things. How do you feel knowing that there are so many efforts, so many groups going into the West, trying to help persons to just rebuild their lives, and what do you feel like is still even needed, in addition to what's already being done?
What's being done is a fantastic initiative, trust me, because there are persons that are in need that are benefiting Of course, we can't survive without necessary food, water, etc. However, some clients, I don't know if they have started issuing those. However, to help with some construction as time goes on would be a good initiative also. And I know that persons within each community will rally around, and of course, the different foundations that are there, they will also give back and help to construct some housing for various individuals. But so far, I love what I'm seeing, and I love that everyone is on board. And moreover, I'm seeing where we are coming together as a people. So each one helps one. We aren't being selfish or putting ourselves first. So I do love what we are doing to help each other.
Wow, that is absolutely beautiful. We're running out of time, but do you have anything that you'd like to say to our listeners that are listening currently? Anybody you want to shout out or anything like that?
A lot of persons. Of course, I would like to thank the different foundations that are out helping the persons that are in need. And of course, I'd encourage them to continue the good work. I would like to send shout out to a lot of persons. Mrs. Dunkley, Mrs. Bennett, my parents, my daughter, of course, the Ewers family, the Williams family, those who have been supportive, Miss Paul, of course, our educators. Yes, a lot of persons I know. We should call a lot of names together.
Right.
Big up everybody.
Big up everybody, that's not safe. So big up everyone, and I wish that we all continue to stay safe, and of course, each one help one as we go through a time of crisis.
Love it. Thank you so much for being on with us, Lord. And I know, as we said, it was a big sacrifice for you to even be on with us. And we certainly hope that power will be restored soon to your area, and that, you'll be able to move forward and pick up the pieces. But thanks again for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Big up, Lloyd. Wow. So many things happening in our island. We just really have to remain prayerful and also to get up and do something, anything at all. Because some people listening, you may be listening right now and say, oh boy, I wish I did have the money to buy the plyboard that Lloydan is asking for her people. But perhaps you can, in your own way, share the links to donation. If you have anything that is good to donate, you can do so many different things we can do to be a part of the cause. But life,
Yeah, that's what it is. And one of the things we want to encourage is that you will keep hope, and that you won't lose faith despite all that's happening. We're jumping to I Chose Christ, which is our testimony feature. I feel like it's fitting to always give a testimony just to encourage somebody. So today we have Destiny Finley. She's the UCCF president at the University of the West Indies, and we're going to hear her testimony now. So listen in and be blessed.
My name is Destiny. I'm a third-year integrated marketing communication student. My testimony is that in the summer of 2018, one of my family members got sick, and at the time I wasn't living for Christ, but when trouble hit, I knew where to turn to. And so during that time, I really was seeking God for healing for my family member. I was praying and fasting. Even though before this incident happened, I wasn't living for Christ, I knew that I could always call on him. I could always turn to him when I was in need. And so I decided to. It was a long process in and out of the hospital. So many things happened during that time. But at the end of it all, God did show up and God did answer our prayers. And after the incident happened and the healing came, something happened in me though that internally that I couldn't deny. And I was like, I was living a life that didn't reflect this God, didn't reflect my love for him. And at the moment I was ready to turn to him and ask him to do anything for me, to bring healing to my family member, he was willing and ready to do it. And that created conviction, but it also revealed God's love. And moving forward, I was like, yeah, I need to change my life. I can't act like what just happened didn't happen. And I needed to change my heart. And so I fell more and more in love with Jesus. And that really started a process of transformation and healing in my own life after giving my life to Christ. So it really was that, yeah, I could call on God in times of need and in times of trouble, but I didn't want my relationship with him to just be about that. And so I decided to give my life to Christ. I decided to start living a life that reflected what I knew about God and what I knew. It was like I wanted my life to reflect my relationship with him. And so I chose Christ, and you should too.
All right. Powerful, powerful testimony there from Destiny Findlay, reminding us that even in times of trouble, you can turn to the Lord. And that's one of the things I love about God, is that he won't be, resentful of the fact that you're coming to him when you're in trouble, but he'll be merciful, he'll be faithful. And so I just want to encourage you, even those who are still trying to move forward after Melissa, now is a good time to turn to the Lord and just pray to him, just like Destiny said.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we want to continue in our show this evening. We have quite a bit left for us, so let's jump straight into it. We have our main segment coming up right now, and we're really going to dissect this whole moving forward thing. We have Miss Erica Bennett, guidance counselor. We also have Mr. Rashawn Winter, president of the UWI Mona Guild of Students, and they will be helping us to understand what moving forward could look like, after a major crisis. Because the truth is, this is tough for everybody. Some persons are facing it physically. They are physically in the devastation, but there are others who, the mental aspect of it and the emotional aspect is very devastating as well. So we just want to take some time to look into that. Lady and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here with us on Campus Connection here on the family station Love 101. How do you do?
Good afternoon, Anesta and Jonathan and my colleague Rashawn. It's good to be here again.
Yes.
It's good to have you again.
Good stuff. Rashawn?
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I ensure that I yielded to the lady here joining us, Erica. So good evening, guys. Thank you so much for having me. I want to say special good evening to your listeners as well. I'm very, very pleased to join and share with you this evening. I'm doing well.
Awesome. All right, so we have a bit of background or context, if you will. So the truth is, some of the steps that might help would be to take it one step at a time, lean on your squad, exercising self-care, reflecting and learning, setting new goals, etc. So I just wanted to provide some context while we get ready to go on a break. So I wanted to think about that, lady and gentlemen, some of the things that we can do to really move forward. So please stick and stay with us after these messages here on the family station Love 101.
Okay, where are the campus heights? Students are strapped up in a price. We I want to go on campus. Young people are going hard from campus. Come on, tell me what. Campus connection, yeah, that's a one.
See all my face bruise up? They beat me just because I said I'm tired.
I'm only 13, but they said if I work harder, they will make me go back home.
Me not have no birth paper nor no ID. Them have all of my documents then. Forced labor is one of the many forms of human trafficking. Report suspected cases of human trafficking. Call the nearest police station 119 or 888-PROTECT. A message from the Ministry of National Security.
I'm Itana, and human trafficking is everybody's business. Call 1-888-PROTECT to report suspected cases of child trafficking.
The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6 o'clock.
Okay. Where are the campus nights? Students are strap up in a price.
Welcome back to Campus Connection, which is proudly brought to you by the Live Good Anti-Violence Campaign from the Ministry of National Security and Peace. We are talking about moving forward, and our question for you is, how do you plan to move forward after the hurricane? So we are live on Facebook, on YouTube, on TikTok at Love 101 FM Jamaica. We also want to hear your feedback in our chat section as well as on WhatsApp at 876-997-3125. Now, Erica, Rashawn, you are no strangers to tragedy, if you will, dealing with difficult situations. Rashawn being president of the UEMONA Guild, I know you had to overcome some challenges to get where you are. Likewise, Miss Erica Bennett, you're a guidance counselor, but you shared last week on even just how traumatic the experience was living with your mom, her having dementia, and those challenges that, you know, some people might not even be aware of. So tell us a little bit about how you manage to stay calm, keep your cool, and ensure that you can be in the best possible mental position to even be of service to those that need your help. So let me start with Rashawn, because I feel like so many people are pulling on you during this season. So tell us a little bit about how you manage to stay calm.
Well, thank you so much for that. Let me first start by acknowledging what a difficult period we are in. Certainly for the community that I represent, the UEMONA Guild of Students community has a lot of students from Western Jamaica, the western end that was basically decimated by this disaster. And we also have our Western Jamaica campus that houses, predominantly those students. I too, I am a Westmorelite, so it's close to home. But what I'll say, even though you might see the locks in my picture, I was growing with a strong faith. I was growing up in the church, and so faith is one thing that certainly keeps me grounded in this time. Just overall being prayerful and knowing that there's a supreme being who has your back and who is always there for you when you're at your lowest. In addition to that, what the UEMONA Guild of Students has offered me is a community. And it's critical that we lean on others in this time, because it is collective recovery that will be the only kind of recovery. So even for anybody listening, it's about leaning on your friends, maintaining, good relationships, people who you can call, you have in your corner, and they'll encourage you and so forth. So that's really how I have been coping so far.
Love it. Miss Erica, do you want to chime in?
Absolutely. So the question is, how did I cope, or how do I cope, especially with the fact that I am caring for my mother. And I want to take us to a Psalm 121, which is a psalm of orientation, right? And psalm of orientation seeks to affirm God, that God is in control and life is well ordered. Right? So we want to rely always on the Lord. And as the psalmist says, I look to the hills from whence cometh my help. My help comes from the Lord. And that's where I put my focus, because I know that any situation that I face, it is God who is helping me through it. In addition to friends and family that I stick close with, there's a prayer meeting that I am a part of every night, because I know that that's the only way I can be sustained. Putting myself on the altar and allowing God to lead and direct my life, because in myself I cannot make it. And so it is for others who are going through challenges themselves as well. Reliance on the Lord.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful. That's very beautiful. One of the things that I've recognized, I see Anesta smiling because I figure that she probably knows where I'm going. But one of the things that I've recognized is that a lot of the times we are very quick to give encouraging words when we're not in the middle of the devastation, the actual physical devastation. And so it's easier for you to come up with an encouraging word and say, hey, push through it, you'll get through it, and all of that. It was recently I was talking to somebody who is in the devastation, and she kept on reassuring me that no, man, we're good, we're okay, we have food, we get our care packages and all of that. But in my mind, after I saw the devastation, when I saw the photos and the videos, in my mind, I kept on asking, how are you good? How are you good? Living in this. What I'd want to know, Rashawn, even you being from Westmoreland and I figure that you're on campus now at the UA Mona, what are some of the practical things that people can do to move forward?
So much, Jonathan. Yes, I'm actually on campus. It wouldn't serve me very well to be home right now because of
I can imagine.
For those joining the campus connection, but they are somewhat affected by what has happened, and I could speak to it from the standpoint of persons who were directly affected. But as I said earlier in my sort of opening remark is that there is no proper recovery here unless it is collective recovery. And so I started out by talking about the power of community and the power of relying on each other. So even over the past couple of days, the UMONA Guild of Students has been in Westmoreland every week. We've been in Westmoreland, let me say Western Jamaica. We've been in St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Trelawney, St. James, at least 8 times so far. And we've been touching base with our students who we could contact. So it's about looking out for each other who might need a helping hand. That's the overarching theme there. We've brought a number of packages to them and their families and just the citizens of Western Jamaica. Community is important, and in community it means you have to look out for your brother. That is one way, and that certainly is for those who would have been affected because they have people or relatives in those areas. But for those who are closer to the tragedy, it has reached such an extent that I can only tell you, I hope you are grounded in faith. I honestly hope that you're grounded in faith. The extent of this catastrophe begs for this divine sort of reassurance and strength. And so I really, really hope if there's anybody who's so close to the catastrophe, that they rely on their faith and know that if we work together as a community, if we look out for each other, we can get through it. Let me tell you something. Jamaican people, we are a people of resilience. And as long as we stick together, we can make it together. So the 2 things you'll repeatedly perhaps hear me say this evening is relying on faith and relying on each other, because that's the only way that we'll be able to recover.
Yes, I can definitely agree with that, Rashawn. And Erica, can you tell us a little bit about what role resilience education plays in or moving forward? So for our listeners, resilience education is basically using time and subject matter to help persons to heal, to even convey understanding about what has happened and what is happening, just to sort of bring some sort of hope from what the principles that you're learning. So what role does resilience education play in or moving forward?
All right. So with resilience, when I teach my students about resilience, I use a very simple phrase, and that is bounce back, right? Now, I use the ball, that rubber ball that everybody, that yellow rubber ball that everybody plays with. When you throw it to the ground, it doesn't stay there. It gets up and bounces. And if you're not careful, it knocks you over. But you want to know that despite the fact that you are knocked down, you're not knocked out, right? And so you want to acknowledge the issues that are facing you. You want to not deny the truth of what is happening. And I hear that coming out when Jonathan said he spoke to someone who is directly affected. I hear contentment coming out. So when you acknowledge the issue, this is the situation. This is how I feel about the situation. You don't overwhelm yourself with the emotions of Lord have mercy. Look what me find myself into. I cannot bounce back from this. Right? So you speak to trusted friends or individuals who can help you and talk about your experience. You can do other things as well, meditate and reconstruct your thoughts, because some people have been bold. Let's say that bold. So the ball bounced when you threw it down, it came up and it hit you. So you're bold. So your situation is kind of, it has you in a way like, oh my God, how am I going to get through this? And like Rashawn, I'm going to say it is through community that you're going to get through this. All right. When we support each other, as he said. All right. And then we also rely on God's ability to help us to do miraculous things for us. So yes, the bill may seem exorbitant, but we serve a God who's a God of miracles, and he can provide for us in unimaginable ways. So while you're going through the stress, get your thoughts, write them down, journal, talk to a friend, someone you can trust, a therapist, a guidance counselor, a psychologist, whomever you can get to speak to, who can help to guide you through the process of recovery, because recovery is possible.
Yes. Rashawn, as the president of the guild, what are some of the things that the UWMONA is actively doing to ensure that there is no great learning loss? I know there is so much and no more that can be done, but are there any strategies, any plans, anything in place for those students who have been severely affected?
Yes, there are quite a number of them. Let me first say that school reopened a week after, and the campus gave a directive to its lecturers and so forth to pivot to hybrid approach, online where possible. But we do understand that a lot of our students don't have internet, and so the guild ensured that they're committed to recording those lectures and classes, so that as soon as our students return back, to connectivity, they'll be able to access those. In addition to that, they have to be posting the course material as well, and we're hoping desperately that our students will be able to rejoin. In addition to that, we've been trying to ensure that we show that the campus is really a safe space in the middle of this crisis. So most of our students from Western Jamaica, they'd have lived in Kingston, either on campus or in a neighboring community if you're not at the Western Jamaica campus. So we're encouraging them to come back. So weekly when we go down, we try to pick up students. The UWMONA Guild Council also has a strong partnership with the JUTC, and so we work to get those students bussed in. The campus has announced a range of financial measures. One of them is a 50% discount on the balance that a student might owe on the tuition. But the Guild Council recognizes that that might be inadequate for some students. And so we're actively working to support them with their hall fees. So very soon, you might see some fundraisers and some efforts being undertaken by the team that I leave that certainly will be trying to get assistance for the most vulnerable. We have also what we call the Pelican Nest. It's the umbrella organization on campus for outreach And so in addition to the volunteer efforts, we are doing care packages and so forth. So we're very, very, very active. Very active. We've coordinated hundreds of warm meals for students over the past few days. So we're very, very active in all the different areas.
Love it, love it. I'm so impressed by the UEMONA Guild for all of their efforts to help students return to some sort of normalcy as we try to move forward. We're jumping now to a quick break, but when we return, more Campus Connection. Stay with us.
I just never did I get show with no work, you know. I did I get desperate. Till one day I see one ad, but them want somebody for work at a massage parlor. Trust me, the place was nothing like them advertised. From the very first day, I had to be giving much more than massages.
Verify the legitimacy of job advertisements with the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. To report suspected cases of human trafficking, call the nearest police station, 119 or 888 PROTECT. A message from the Ministry of National Security.
Something big is coming this Christmas. 2 cities, 2 days.
One unforgettable experience.
Mark your calendars. Saturday, December 13th and Saturday, December 20th, 2025. The magic of the season is about to hit Jamaica like never before.
Where will it be? Who will be there? Stay tuned.
Because season splendor is coming and you don't want to miss it.
Season Splendor. The countdown begins.
Where are the campus eyes? Students are strapped up in a prize.
All right,
Welcome
back
back.
to Campus.
Woot, woot, woot. It's Campus Connection, and it's certainly a privilege to be on with you all. One more time, we are talking about moving forward, and we have guests with us who have been just giving us a down low on what to do, how to move forward. And we have Miss Erica Bennett. She's a guidance counselor. We also have Mr. Rashawn Winter, president of the UEMONA Guild of Students. Now, while you both were talking earlier, I was thinking about how sometimes hardship necessitates or creates a need for creativity and ingenuity. And even how sometimes during those times of hardship, when you start to apply yourself, apply your skills, your talents, life after that traumatic experience does not necessarily look like life before that experience. And so I'm thinking now in terms of Hurricane Melissa. I don't know, Miss Bennett, if you could speak to how persons could possibly tap into their creative potential to solve problems, to chart a new path in a way that, you know, instead of looking to have the same routine or the same way of life as before the hurricane, how can persons really tap into just their God-given creativity, innovation in order to just create opportunities for themselves?
I think one of the things that I thought about when I realized that all this attention is now going to be given towards the parishes in the West, I'm thinking that now is an appropriate time for more of our young people to get trained by Heart Trust. They're there, they're not going anywhere. So this is a very suitable time for Heart Trust NTA to go into this community and provide skills for these community members to upgrade themselves. Usually,
why did that come to mind? Why did that particular idea come to mind?
Perhaps because I've been listening to the updates from the government. And I am listening to what their plans are, and I'm thinking that it's an opportune time to get to the young men and the young ladies to get them trained because they have nowhere going, quote unquote. They're there in the community, the shelters that are open. They could bring trainers in and upskill our people so that at the end of the day, they can find themselves jobs, whether it is nursing, carpentry, wherever the skill areas are that we have less people in, and there's a demand for people in this area. So yes, I think that the Artrust NTA can go in and train these young people and probably some older ones as well, so that at the end of this, they can even help themselves, right? Apprenticeship program where a skilled worker trains an unskilled worker. It's like on the job training as well.
Training.
So this is an opportune time where that can be focused. A focus can be placed on that.
So
Definitely like where you're going.
just to clarify, sorry, Jonathan. So just to clarify, for instance, we heard of the medical professionals at, for instance, the Cornwall Hospital being overwhelmed with the number of cases coming in, having some sort of training, say, for persons to be just like a nurse's aide or some kind of training where they're under the supervision of licensed professionals, but they're still, able to learn some skills along the way. I think that's a brilliant idea, and I'm hoping somebody is
You heard it
listening.
here first on the family station, Love 101. That's powerful. That is absolutely powerful.
Time for that to happen. Maybe Rashawn could take some of his peers to the community shelters and speak with young people about how to upgrade themselves, moving from one subject to another, or even offer them a math class or something to that effect. But a lot can be done, while we wait on the peers to be affected.
Rashawn, what are your thoughts? I'm interested to know.
I certainly agree. So when I spoke about the Pelican Nest earlier, one component to it, is that we're tapping into the resource or the resources of our students. So UEMONA students are not going to be passive players in the recovery, but rather active agents who are skilled. So when we sent out our form and so forth, we encouraged, in particular, or engineering students or medical sciences students or science and technology students, because we are trying to have them play a more purposeful role, if I may use that sort of analogy. So it's not only for you to hand out care packages, but if we need to go down there and we need to try to rebuild physically, that is, we can get that kind of volunteerism done. Even our former vice president on the Guild Council, he also is a social work student, and he has approached me with a brilliant idea to see how best we can build connections with the communities, especially the most vulnerable ones, to streamline assistance. And a part of that will include mentorship. So my own view is that this recovery certainly can be a one-off thing. It can be just a 1 or 2 month, but even extending into December, January, we have to see people really engaging with the communities that have been damaged. And it's not just to repair, because there's also opportunity in crisis, because that means that it's now a time for us to rethink how we would have been doing business. Young people now have an opportunity to see what small businesses you can start in your community to fill some of the little gaps that are there. If you're a creative, you can engage in more technology-based solutions to some of these problems. So it's really an opportunity for us to rethink. And as a Westmore like myself, we certainly need to rethink how we build our homes, because Westmoreland has this culture. We are very, very attached to the board structures. So maybe it's time to consider the designs of our homes. Are the roofs, do the roofs of our homes Are they too vulnerable when we have strong winds? You have people who talk about the age before we built all of these and how the Taínos lived on the sea with cone-shaped buildings, and some people believe that those are more wind resistant. So it's time for all of that kind of conversation, and it's something that we'll definitely have to pay a lot of attention to.
Absolutely. Highlighting and looking on the opportunities in crisis is a big aspect of moving forward, and I'm happy that all these thoughts are coming out of this conversation. But we're running out of time. Madam Erica, I'm going to ask you to leave your final thoughts with our listeners and our viewers in 30 seconds, and go.
All right. So, for one, we have our God to whom we rely. We have friends and families on whom we can call, who are here, who are God's hands and feet. And when we join together, we can get through any situation that is difficult. And we see that displayed right in front of our eyes, with aid coming in from all sorts of areas. And so we want to rely on the fact that God is with us, and that we have friends and family who will aid us in effecting repairs that needs to be done.
Awesome. Roshan, your final 30 seconds.
Yes, of course. My parting message is that Rome wasn't built in a day. All that we've lost, it didn't take just a month or two to be built, and so it certainly will take time. But what gets us through that is looking at collective recoveries, looking at the community, looking at each one helping one, maintaining the bonds that we have with each other, and as well maintaining the faith that we have. But also, let's not ignore the opportunities that might come from crisis. Let us reimagine, rethink some of the things that we're doing, especially for the young people. If you have special skills, now is time to think about how you can use them to fit in and to generate opportunities for yourself. So I am very, very confident. Jamaican people, we are resilient, and we'll get through this, no matter how long it takes, but we'll get through it together.
Amen.
Absolutely.
All right.
Wow.
I love it. And we are so grateful that you guys decided to make it Campus Connection, and just for the insights that you've given with how we can possibly move forward as a nation. Thank you, Erica. Thank you, Rashawn, for taking this time out with us, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for having me.
All right. Wow. Powerful show, powerful conversation here inside Campus Connection on the Family Station, Love 101. We have to, at some point in time, pick up the pieces and move forward, right? Yeah. It's difficult. It's not. I'm not going to sit here and talk as if it's an easy thing to do, but it really is the best thing for us at this point in time. And with God as our guide, it is definitely possible. We want to thank you so much for making the Campus Connection this evening. We are so grateful that you join us week after week to be a part of either our viewership or our listenership. Thank you so much. We want to send a special shout out to our hard working team: Jermaine Johnson, Niku Angus, Shania Smith, Daniel Cox, David Sutton, Eden Palmer, Ruth Lawrence, Camille Lawrence, and Raquel Robertson. And we want to thank our guests. Thank you so much for making the Campus Connection this evening. That's it for our show this week. Campus Connection is proudly brought to you by Live Good Anti-Violence Campaign from the Ministry of National Security and Peace. I am Jonathan Fletcher. See you next week, Wagwan, as we explore more things while going on campus.
And I'm Anesta. We'll see you next week, guys.
On the next episode of The Mailbox, we'll be talking about the resilient man, the making of a resilient